First, I will talk about the introduction. The COVID-19 pandemic, which began in late 2019, caused serious health and economic impacts worldwide. By April 2020, it had reached 230 countries with over 1.5 million cases. Asia was heavily affected, with key sectors like tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing disrupted by lockdown and travel restrictions. Businesses faced closures, supply chains were strained, and consumer confidence dropped. Government in Asia responded with fiscal policy, including financial aid, stimulus packages, and business support to reduce losses and stabilize their economics. This effort helped mitigate the damage and set the region on a path to recovery despite ongoing challenges.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Izzah binti Abdul Basir and my metric number is 297992. I will continue the presentation about the economic impact of COVID-19 on Asia market. So, the first impact is global supply chain. Okay, Southeast Asia face unpredictable economic challenge because most of the countries are still developing. This economy rely heavily on import and export sector for growth. Additionally, the commodity sector play a crucial role as ASEAN countries are major global exporter of products like palm oil, rubber tea, and agricultural goods. However, during the pandemic, government worldwide enforced lockdown measures to control the coronavirus, which causes many industries to shut down. This led to the major disruption in the global and regional supply chain, especially in the sector like the manufacturing, agricultural, and electronic, which depend heavily on the cross-border trade. The lockdown in Wuhan, China in January 2020 had a ripple effect on global trade. China, being a major trading partner for Southeast Asia, experienced disruption in its factory sector, including production of semiconductor and spare parts. This causes a lack of supply to ASEAN countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia. Additionally, movement restriction restricted the delivery of critical raw materials such as steel and chemical, which are essential for the Southeast Asia manufacturing industry. This restriction creates a chain effect leading to shipment delay, increased logistic costs, and mismatch in supply and demand. For instance, export of agricultural products like rubber and palm oil from ASEAN to China also slowed down due to the reduced port activity and lower demand in China. We can see data on international ship call show the impact of COVID-19 to the supply chain, which is the number of ship call in the countries such as Thailand, Myanmar, Singapore, and Malaysia show a significant decrease in 2019 compared to 2020. This reflects the slowdown in the delivery of goods and the restriction to the global supply chain. However, the post-2021, there are been gradual recovery in the number of the ship call, indicating the sign of economic improvement. Overall, the pandemic highlighted the ASEAN countries is very dependent on the smooth supply chain and the major trading partner like China. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Afifah binti Azmi with the metric number 294829 and I'm going to talk about our subtopic international trade, which we will be highlighting the export issues and import challenges. Global trade system disturbance amongst Asian countries. Countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, which depend heavily on international trade, has faced vulnerabilities in global economic system. This has affected production and transportation, and causing supply chain breakdowns. This also illustrated how external shocks can disrupt the flow of goods, market strength, and divert economic growth. Hence, nations without such agreements struggle to cope with the challenges posed by the pandemic. This issue emphasizes the critical role of stable international trade for the economies of both individuals, countries, and the Asian region. The pandemic severely disrupted Asian exporters, with demand dropping sharply and operation becoming difficult. Many countries like Malaysia and Indonesia face delays in exporting raw materials due to the stricter border controls and limited shipping capacities. For example, manufacturers struggle with slow processes caused by these restrictions. Adding to this, there was a global shortage of shipping containers and freight costs skyrocketed, making a cross-border trade even more expensive. Countries without strong trade agreements face bigger struggles adapting to this change. As a result, Asian products become less competitive in international markets, causing financial losses for businesses both large and small. These examples clearly show how fragile trade systems were during the pandemic and why stronger trade agreements and smoother supply chains are critical for the future. Next, for import challenges. In 2023, Asia faced major import challenges, largely due to the higher cost and heavy dependence on international suppliers. This highlighted the region's vulnerability in the global economy. Rising prices and supply chain problems created difficulties, especially since many Asian countries rely on import for key goods like electronics, energy, and machinery. According to the figure 3.0, both exports and imports declined, but imports dropped faster. This showed how reliant Asian economies are on global trade. Any disruptions in supply chains, like those caused by the pandemic, severely affected production lines and economic growth. The after effects of COVID-19 and ongoing geopolitical tensions also led to higher production and transportation costs. These price hikes were especially hard for industries depend on imports, such as raw materials, fuels, and shipping costs became unpredictable, making it harder for business to plan on budget. Ultimately, these challenges raise of cost of goods weakened local economies and reduced consumer spending. This proved that Asia's resilience heavily depends on stable global trade and effective supply chains.
Next, investment trends. The COVID-19 pandemic initially hit ASEAN's FDI hard, especially in tourism-heavy economies and manufacturing hubs. However, it spurred new investments as businesses diversified from China, boosting sectors like electronics in Vietnam and digital transformation across the region. Sustainability also drew long-term capital. Despite challenges like uneven recovery and rising interest rates, ASEAN remains attractive due to its young population, growing middle class, and robust trade networks.
During COVID-19 pandemic, government intervention is a must to lessen the impact towards countries all around the world. So, the government of Asian Member State AMS has introduced various stimulus policies with the main focus being on fiscal stimulus and monetary stimulus policies. But for our topic, we will put more focus on fiscal stimulus policies, which involve how the government manage the tax and government spending. So, lockdown phase during the pandemic has forced many businesses to shut down. People become unemployed and lost their main income. To cope with the problem, during COVID-19, the government has implemented expansionary fiscal policies to stimulate economic activity, which is reduce the tax and increase the government spending. Asian countries' fiscal stimulus interventions can be divided into three categories, which is household subsidies, tax exemptions, and provide financing and restructurings of loans. For example, Malaysia has announced the allocation of 10 billion ringgit for Bantuan Perhatian Nasional (BPN) for individuals in lower and middle income group to lessen their financial burden. Based on the data, Thailand has the largest total stimulus package compared to other Asian countries, with 3 installments reaching 88.8 billion USD. Indonesia in the second place with 81.8 billion USD. However, one and only developed country in Asia, Singapore, is only with USD 65 billion. This is because due to the difference in population, as Singapore population is less than Malaysia and less than other Asian countries. But there are some indicators that we can use to measure which country has the best intervention between one example of developing country, which is Malaysia, and Singapore. Firstly, to assist affected citizens, Singapore has introduced a policy that up to $700 per month for 3 months for those who lost their job. Compared to Malaysia, BPN, Bantuan Perhatian Nasional, provides one-off financial aid for 2 times that depends on the individual group, which is from the lower income or middle income group. And for the second comparison is the largest number of citizens who have fully vaccinated in October 2021 is Singapore, and Malaysia is in the third place. So this data shows that Singapore's stimulus package are generally more effective for these specific categories compared to other developing countries.
In conclusion, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted Southeast Asia trade and key industry. Showing the regions reliant on global supply chains, it highlighted the need for stronger, more diverse trade system to handle future challenges. Countries with strong trade agreement managed better during the crisis. During the pandemic, FDI in Asia dropped, but new opportunity emerged with businesses shifting investment. Sectors like e-commerce and sustainability grew. Asian young population and strong trade network support future growth. Government provide fiscal support, with Singapore offering better aid and Malaysia focusing on loan and cash payment. Targeted policy help lessen the pandemic impact. Asian government also use fiscal stimulus to support people and businesses during COVID-19. Malaysia gave a loan and cash aid, while Singapore offered higher monthly support and had better vaccination rates. The effectiveness of these packages vary by country, but overall targeted policy helped reduce the pandemic impact.